Greetings once again, my friends. This is Celeria Rosenkreuz, and we are here again on the same day as the recording for the previous episode. Now, I have just gotten through killing the Asylum demon. It took me far too long, and I very much wish that I had actually been able to do it without having to resort to the black firebombs, but such was not the case. Regardless, it occurs to me that in all of the confrontations that I had with it, I did not consider actually speaking on what a demon is in the first place in FromSoft. This is something which is pretty important, and so I shall give you all a little bit of context. Starting all the way off with Kingsfield, it is worth noting that demons were introduced as creatures that may, at the very least, sometimes have been humans whose souls were corrupted. In this case, we saw one individual, a dark magician, who was the king's chief wizard, essentially, who was also a necromancer and therefore sought out a way to maximize his life. In the end, he decided to transform himself into a demon, and by this means he was able to obtain immortality, until we killed him. Moving on, the most relevant case will be demon souls. This, as I suggested previously, has many connections with Dark Souls, but in particular, it is worth noting that in Demon Souls, you had an entity, sort of an outer god, if you will, known as the Old One, who was producing the mist that is at the edge of the world and began to devour it. This is something that is relevant to Dark Souls, because that same mist seems to have ended the previous world, suggesting there was another demon crisis after what occurred in Demon Souls. Regardless, the issue in question is, what does this fog really do? Well, one, it allows for the spread of decay and the corruption of people, stripping them of their souls, but also, in the course of this occurring, it is possible for a sort of demon lord who is a chosen warrior that is acting as a sort of leader for the demonic armies to become a vessel of power for the Old One. This individual will go about spreading demonic essence by way of using their magical power to cause corruption within the souls of the individuals they come in contact with. That said, outside of direct contact with the individual in question, it is also very much possible to become corrupted and to become a demon through other means, just as in Kingsfield. One can independently do so by way of interacting with what is known as soul magic, or rather the soul arts in that setting. The soul arts allow one to use the magic that is in other souls to either strengthen oneself or strengthen one's magic. One can also use the souls of demons and channel them in order to allow one to cast more potent magic, but this is inherently corruptive of the soul. In the game itself, Demon Souls, one ends up leveling up by way of administering either demonic or human souls to oneself, and thereby increasing one's attributes, raising oneself up in power at the cost of, at least given the way that it is applied, by way of a maiden in black who is a demon herself, one will slowly become corrupted and become more demon-like. This seems to be a problem for people in general in that world, as the use of the soul arts can very easily lead towards one falling into demonic nature. a lust for power seems to have a way of sort of digging itself into people, causing them to be more and more reckless until their soul is infested with might that is not able to be controlled. And therefore they lose their identity as who they once were. And even the most pure entities can become the most corrupted demons as a result. Anyway, considering the fact that this game happens to use arts that are drawn from the soul, it's a little bit ominous that we are building up a pool of souls ourselves as seen by way of defeating that demon. Now, I can imagine it being the case that we might level up using those, as it seems in most FromSoft games one is very much capable of doing that. Elden Ring allows you to do so with runes, and runes are at the very least very strongly related to souls in that game. But in Elden Ring, it does not seem to actually be corruptive of the soul. Therefore, the question is it a matter of method? Is the application of souls that are foreign to oneself to one's essence in order to gain power something that will inherently lead one to the path of becoming a demon? Or is it the case that, as in Kingsfield, the demons of this world are actually voluntarily transforming themselves? And if that's the case, if they don't have, say, a leader who is enslaved to the old one, is it the case that we might find multiple demonic factions in this game? Or will it be the case that, as in the previous titles where we saw demons, there was only a singular one, really? Well, we shall see. We shall proceed now, knowing all that we can except what is described in the weapon. I suppose I should probably look at that. Maybe we'll get some of the answers we seek. Demon's Great Hammer. Obviously significantly more powerful than what we can currently wield, both in the actual damage and in the fact that it requires 46 strength, which we will likely never get to. Regardless, though, it has a description. Weapon type Great Hammer, attack type Strike. Demon weapon built from the stone arch trees. This confirms that the trees we saw were in fact made of petrified stone, and apparently that they're being harvested to create weapons. Used by lesser demons at the North Undead Asylum. Lesser demons, they say, despite the fact that those were extremely tough. Yes, indeed. I'm sure there will be much more powerful enemies we'll have to face in the future. This hammer is imbued with no special power, but it can merrily beat foes to a pulp, providing you have the strength to wield it. It would seem that we have no more enlightenment as to exactly what's going on than we did before. However, since it says of the North Undead Asylum, at the very least this suggests that demons elsewhere might be using different weapons. Perhaps we'll find out whether or not it's especially unique or powerful compared to those once we find the others. Oh! Someone shot me with an arrow and I couldn't see them because of the fact that... Oh, darn phantasm. But, since we have a shield now, might as well equip it. Oh, it seems I've equipped it in the wrong position. This should be where I put the shield. Arms icon, change equipment. Left button to use the guard when the shield is equipped. Thank you very much. Goodness gracious. Ah, that's better. Still didn't quite finish them off, but at the very least, that dealt a little bit more damage. So this is something we shall do again. And there we go. Bandit knife, despite the fact we're not the bandit class. But that is the weapon of our choice as a thief. Let's see what it says. This wide single-edged short sword is a favorite of lowly thieves and bandits, primarily a slicing weapon but highly effective when used for critical hits, such as after parrying or from behind. Let's see what this also says. Small round metal shield, 4 protrusions used to parry attacks. Small shields are always less stable, but landing critical hits after the parry is easier. This shield is specialized for parrying. Mask of sinners, they hide their faces, stifle their voices, and hide in the shadows. It does not provide much in the way of defense. But it's what we have. And certainly we have sins on our plate. Oh, if only we could find a way to redeem ourselves. This armor, made of smooth black leather, is extremely quiet. A good thing for those who hide in the shadows. The leather itself is thick, offering a decent level of protection. These gloves, made of smooth black leather, are extremely quiet. The leather is thick. These boots, made of smooth black leather, blah 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 blah, but oh well, it is still very useful. Let's see if this has anything better to say. Black bisque, filled with black powder. Explodes, inflicting fire damage. Powerful ranged weapon, especially in situations calling for fire damage. A very precious item at low levels. Black firebombs are especially destructive. And since that's the case, we'll make sure we don't accidentally waste them. A fog door. Something dangerous shall be coming up. Let's see. I don't think there's anything else important to note back here, other than the fact that there's some sort of grate. Ah, we can change weapons and toggle items, thank you. There's our funny little bandit knife. I wonder why that undead was shooting us with arrows. Traverse the mist. Backstep and roll, okay. Oh, our knight friend. Well, we can't get up there right now, but we will later. Let's, see if we can't... Oh. Yes, very effective for backstabs, it would seem. Shame we don't have anything to heal with right now. These narrow corridors are making things quite difficult. Black crystal, long a symbol of farewell. It's granted to banished undead. The crystal sends phantoms back to their homes or sends you back to yours. Beware of fickle use of this item if you intend to nurture relations. Yes, it's a very good thing to make sure that you are friendly with your cooperators. Master Key opens any basic lock. This universal key opens any basic lock, tool of the trade for thieves, but in the cursed land of the undead, most doors are better left unopened. This is a key to the dungeon of the Undead Asylum to the north. A mysterious knight, without saying a word, shoved a corpse down the cell, and on his person, or on the corpse's person, was a key. Who was this knight, and what was his purpose? There may be no answers, but one must still forge ahead. Neither, it would seem, would allow us to proceed, however. Can't use it, can't use it. Where did that rolling ball trap come from? Well, regardless, we now have the path opened to us. Greetings, friend.
Oh, you. You're no hollow. Thank goodness. I'm done for, I'm afraid. I'll die soon, then lose my sanity. I wish to ask something of you. You and I, we're both undead. Hear me out, will you?
Sure. I'll heal you out, sir. As a thank you.
Regrettably, I have failed in my mission. But perhaps you can keep the torch lit. There is an old saying in my family. Thou who art undead art chosen. And thine exodus from the Undead Asylum maketh pilgrimage to the land of ancient lords. When thou ringeth the bell of awakening, the fate of the undead thou shalt know. Well, now you know. And I can die with hope in my heart. Oh, one more thing. Here, take this. An Estus flask. An undead favorite.
So, there are...
Oh, and this.
Oh, very useful. 2 new keys.
Now I must bid farewell. I would hate to harm you after death. So go now, and thank you.
Well, let's just think this through. Ah, most excellent. But this man said his family has an old saying. Thou who art undead, journey from the northern Undead Asylum, go to the land of Lordran, ring the bells. Yes, yes. Very curious that his family would have a saying pertaining to people like me, when he is clearly actually not from here. It seems a bit strange that he should deliver such a thing, if, of course, he is actually being truthful that he has failed in his mission. See, it doesn't seem correct that this man should actually have himself the knowledge of such a thing, and all of these items on his person, and yet be a prisoner, which means either his family must have escaped from this asylum at some point, and he's trying to free those of us who have been locked up here himself, or ourselves, I suppose. Say, to honor the family legacy. Or it must be the case that this is something that is related to his mission. Say the mission of telling this to the Undead Asylum occupants. Perhaps to cause us to seek out these bells when we escape ourselves. It's a very curious thing. Why would his family actually have such a saying, because it sounds like a prophecy. It sounds like it shouldn't just be something that he calls a saying. And he has a mission that it's somehow related to. But we are left in a bit of a pickle. He says he doesn't want us to see harm, but he's about to die, and then he will turn crazy. I think, as much as I hate to say it, it's probably for the best to try to kill him now and prevent the threat from coming in later. So, let's see then.
Why?
Well, that feels strange. Very strange indeed. Maybe that wasn't the right choice. But we'll find out. Let's see. Maybe the key will open this door. Excellent. But before we go down there, let's explore. There should be a little bit more to find. Be wary of night. Nothing there, so... This is odd. Perhaps we ought to just... proceed this way. Looks like there's nowhere else to go. Left button plus RB kick. Okay. Okay, that's good to know. Oh, wow. I didn't expect that would be good enough. Oh, dear. Oh, no! Ah, well. I don't suppose that knight will be counted as an enemy. So he shouldn't have been revived. No, indeed. Most unfortunate. There we go. That's the parry I was looking for. Still not too much to actually discern throughout here. Oh, that one doesn't have an associated key in my inventory yet. Ow. Be wary of plunging attack. Let's see. Big Pilgrim's Key. Key to the inner door of the Undead Asylum main hall. Big key belonging to the chosen undead pilgrim. Yes, indeed, that would be us. Which means we're being suckered into some sort of weird conspiracy. The prophecy that we've been provided has been provided with someone who believes that that it must be delivered to some undead in the Northern Undead Asylum, meaning it is a mission of some sort to deliver that from some party who is interested in us going on whatever this pilgrimage is. That's very suspicious. This chosen undead knows not what this pilgrimage has in store indeed. So, let us find out together then what crazy things we might find. Key to the iron bars on the east side of the second floor of the Northern Undead Asylum. Let's see. Yeah, I think the Undead Asylum is a giant undead prison segmented by countless iron bars. Even if an undead were to escape from the cell, passage to the outside world would not be gained easily. Ah. Yes, that is if you don't have the big pilgrim key. And, of course, assuming that the demon is not out of the way. So that must have been a guard that was placed by someone who is averse to whatever prophecy is actually being put in play here. There are multiple factions who are working along the path here, trying to interfere or determine who actually will be going about doing the prophecy's contents, whatever they might be. So I'm sure it's not just... Oh yes, here. I don't know what here is, but... Oh, the corpse. Soul of a lost undead. That's good. Anyway, let's see. So, I'm sure that it's not just that we have to go there and ring the bell. I'm sure...
You, give me warm, give me soft.
Okay. Well, that's a bit weird. Let's see what we have that's warm and soft. I guess we can give this. Let's see. Drop.
No. No. That no warm, that no soft.
I guess that's true. A random pokey bit of metal is not really too soft. I'm not sure what else we could give. I guess I could hand it over a soul. I'm not sure if it would really appreciate that. Let us sacrifice our sins to the bird, see if it can make off with them. Oh, it won't let me drop them. That's a shame. Guess I'll have to work harder to make the way of purification possible. I'm not sure. Let's try.
No.
Oh,
No.
that wasn't intended. Oh, little bird, what could you want? Maybe I'll just have to come back and see what I can provide to you later.
You, give me warm, give me soft.
Oh. Well, that's unfortunate. It would seem the item we dropped is no longer here. But we got all our souls that are actually from the boss, so that's what matters. This place is full of graves. So it's not just that this is an asylum. The undead wouldn't need graves in the first place. This place. Let's see. Maybe this place at one point was a church. Yes, that would make sense of the graveyard at the very least. And it does have very fancy architecture that sort of reminds me of one. Well, the message said go straight ahead, so what's the worst that could happen? This reminds me of the end of our journey where Mikula's butterflies
In the
led us
ancient legends, it is stated
to drop to our death.
that one day an undead shall be chosen.
Oh! Chosen by a bird,
To
apparently.
leave the Undead Asylum in pilgrimage to the land of the ancient lords.
Oh. So it
Lord
seems I'm going to the land of the gods. The land of gods ran. Curious. I guess it's saying the place is run by the gods. That's where they kept their rule departmentalized. Oh. I see. In Lordran, you can level up and kindle at bonfires. I don't know what kindling means, but I can at least see about doing it. Cannot kindle while hollowed? Well, I guess I'll just have to reverse hollowing. No humanity. I have humanity. I have one in my inventory. Oh, that reminds me, I really should check to see what it says. Rare tiny black sprite found on corpses. Humanity is rare these days, people. I guess that's why I don't have any. But I can imbibe it, perhaps. Used to gain 1 humanity and restore a large amount of HP. I don't need any HP, but I do need humanity. This black sprite is called humanity, but little is known about its true nature. If the soul is the source of all life, then what distinguishes the humanity we hold within ourselves? I don't know, but what I can say is that mote of humanity there not only sort of looks like the vague shape of a person if they had a funny ghost tail at the bottom, but also it sort of looks similar to the motes of fire that our funny little gods happen to grab at the beginning of the game. Most curious, that. I wonder what sort of relationship could be going on there. I'll use it, since I was instructed that I can kindle, if I have humanity. Oh, a black and white flame enters us as we activate it. Offer humanity to reverse hollowing. Let's go! Humanity restored. I don't have humanity, but once I do, I can kindle the bonfire. So, I can level up now. But first, let's see what all of these actually do. Okay, character name. Level indicates the overall value, indicating overall stats. Souls required to boost level. Yes, very similar to demon souls in that regard. Souls, the total souls in my possession. Souls have various uses, but are left behind at the spot of one's death. Very convenient and helpful. I was appreciable. Or I should say, I quite appreciated the fact that I was able to get those back after having died following the demon's demise. Souls required to level up and boost one's parameter. I see. So the amount of souls you'll need to level up will increase, I suppose, as you level. That is very straightforward. It's similar to how runes work in Elden Ring, and that is to be expected in a game where you want to have gradual progress as enemies begin to drop more and more of them. So, vitality determines HP. Attunement determines the number of attunement slots. Don't know what those are, so I won't invest. Parameter determining stamina, equipment load, and resistance to bleeding. That'll be one that I will want to increase. Parameter required to wield powerful weapons. Also boosts weapon attack. Parameter required to wield advanced weapons. Also boosts weapon attack. Well, I'm a thief, so I'll at least increase that a little bit. Parameter boosting defense and resistance to poison. That could be important. Don't know whether I'll be able to make use of it very soon, but that is something that, maybe I should keep that in line with endurance and vitality. Maybe increase vitality and endurance by 1 each, and then dexterity, and resistance will come next. Parameter required to wield sorceries. Also boost sorcery and magical weapons. That might be necessary later on. Parameter required to cast miracles. Also boosts miracles and divine weapons. Okay, so you have multiple classes of weapons in this game. Divine weapons, which probably come from blessings related to our funny little white man. And intelligence weapons probably have some sort of enchanting related to, well, I should say, magical weapons probably have some sort of enchanting related to sorcery involved there. So maybe weapons derived from Seath. And then humanity, number of black sprites within one's bosom. Symbolizes human nature and determines item discovery and resistance to curses. Well, that's good to know. Okay, so vitality, endurance, and dexterity. Just enough. Very good. On that note, it would seem this is a good time to stop. Hopefully I haven't screwed things over terribly by killing that poor knight who thinks that he must have been at the precipice of dying and proved to actually be, based on the fact that we were able to very, very easily kill him. I don't know what would have gone on if I'd spared his life, but maybe we'll find out on New Game Plus. Until next we meet, this has been Celeria Rosenkreuz, and I thank you for joining me on this journey. Farewell.